ended on the wrong side, getting ready to go to the right side. So I want you to actually see it again to where we're going. This is one that I worked ahead a little bit, and then we're going to get started. We just finished this turning row with the little ridges on the bottom, and you knitted 6 rows just in stockinette, knit a row, purl a row. And so now, if you're up with me, we are about to add now, this is called the Diamond Eyelet stitch pattern. You can get it out of most stitch books. That's the reason I really enjoy stitch books. It's good to go on the internet, but sometimes, you know, it's just a lot of, you know, you got to find the right site, and you got to hope, you know, find the right stitch. So it's good to know how to read your stitch books also. You can just pull up whatever you like. So this is the Diamond Eyelet stitch, and this is where we're going to begin on our piece. So here I am. Remember, we just finished that row, and we have knitted 6 rows. We are now on row 7, which will start our pattern, our Diamond Eyelet pattern. And you will need at least, you need 2 stitch markers, so you might reach for one of those, 2 of those before we start. And you know, when you're starting, since they've changed, since, you know, when I started knitting, you know, some of the abbreviations or some of the terms have changed since. I guess they kind of updated as new people, or people, or as knitting has evolved, as everything. They've changed some of the terms into just different ways of saying it. Instead of a yarn over, it's yarn forward or something. But anyway, so I always like to read through my pattern. So, and just familiarize yourself with your pattern. So if there's any maybe some of the language you don't understand, you can look it up and get familiar with it. But I'm going to get started now, and we're going to knit row 1 of the pattern of our bag. And this is the Diamond Eyelet stitch, and for this row number 7, I am going to knit 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is kind of like a border. So I'm centering, putting the stitches right in here. Okay, so now I'll pick up a mark and mark that, so I'll know that now starts my pattern until we get to the opposite end. So the pattern, I'm going to read it out, and then we're going to knit it together. You're going to knit 1, then you're going to knit 1 again. You're going to knit 2 together. You're going to yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 2. So let's go. The first stitch is a knit 1 of the pattern. Now, then the next stitch is a knit 1, which starts where we're going to start the repeat at. So that's knit 1, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, bring the yarn over your right needle, knit 1, yarn over again, bring the yarn over, knit 2 together, and then knit 2. 1 and 2. This Diamond Eyelet pattern is a multiple of 8 stitches plus 1. So you can always check and count your stitches: 2, 4, 6, 8, and there's the extra 1. Alright, now we start the repeat. And the repeat part of this pattern is knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and then knit 2. Okay, and repeat. Knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1 stitch, bring the yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and then knit 2. And we want to repeat. Knit 1, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 1 stitch, bring the yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and then knit 2. Okay, and repeat. Knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 2. And that's our last repeat. So we will pick up our last stitch marker and put it here, and then we should have 5 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we will knit those 5 stitches to end row 1. And you just barely can see the beginning of our diamonds, our little holes at the very bottom. Now, on this particular pattern, every wrong side row, which is the flip side, the purl side, you simply purl across. Now, some of you like to slip the first stitch, some of you like to knit the first and last stitch. That's just up to you. I'm just going to follow the pattern and you can just purl across. And you can do the edges however you like. That's just a matter of your preference. So, if I'm following what I'm doing, I'm simply going to knit the first and last stitch. But you don't have to. You can just simply purl. Put my yarn in front. Now I will purl across. Oops. Slide your marker and continue to purl across. Be careful of if you're, kind of still new, or watch your yarn overs. Don't let them fall off. Take good care. Sometimes we fall asleep on this row because it's just the purling back. But the yarn overs, be very careful and don't lose them. So, continue across, and I will see you back for row 3. Watch your yarn overs. Don't lose them. Okay, we're ready to start row 3. And we knit the first 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you remember our marker tells us where the actual pattern starts. Okay, let's read through this row number 3. We have knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, and knit 1. So let's start. Okay, we slide the marker and then we knit 1. Knit 2 together, yarn over, now knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over again, knit 2 together, and then knit 1. This is row 3, and now we start the repeat. And the repeat is knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3. Okay, and then you yarn over, knit 2 together, and then knit 1. And repeat. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1. And repeat. Okay, we're ready for row 5 of our Diamond Eyelet pattern on our little clutch purse. And I'm going to read through it, and because this is a row you need to mark as just to say pay attention. It's not hard, but there's just a different ending to it. So I'm going to read through it first, and what we will do, we will knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 5, yarn over. Then we're going to do a SK2P, and that means slip 1 stitch, knit 2 stitches together, then go back and take the one you slipped and pass it back over the knit 2 together. And then you're going to repeat until we get to the last 7 stitches, and then we have to end it a little different. So now let's see how it looks when we're actually working on it. Okay, remember on our pattern, the first 4 stitches we're just simply going to knit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just kind of our border before we get to our actual design pattern. Okay, now I'm going to slip the marker, and then we're going to start row 5. Okay, knit 2 together. So we're going to simply knit the first 2 stitches together. It's a little tight, but just kind of try to tell yourself keep it loose so that you can get through it. Okay, now we need to bring the yarn over. Now we're going to actually knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then a yarn over. Now we're ready to, the SK2P. Slip 1 stitch, just simply, you don't work it or anything, you just simply slip it from the left hand needle to the right hand needle. Then K2, you're going to knit 2 together. Now, you see the slip stitch right next to the one you just finished. Pick that stitch up and bring it over the knit 2 together. See that? You just slip it over there. It's a SK2P. Alright, now instruction says repeat from, so now we're going to go back and start the repeat. And as you can see by your instructions, the written instructions right above on the screen here, we start out with a yarn over. See that? Yarn over. Now, knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And yarn over. Now we're going to do the SK2P. Slip 1. Knit the next 2 stitches together. But before you're done with it, you reach back and pick up the slip stitch right there and lift it over the point. Just like that. Now, repeat. Yarn over. Knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over. SK2P. Slip 1. Knit 2 together. Reach back and take the slip stitch over. Well, we're down to the last repeat. And as you follow along the pattern at the top, we're down to the last repeat, and they simply want you to end it a little different. So, if you look at the pattern on the screen, it says to yarn over, knit 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now yarn over, and there's 2 stitches left. So we're simply going to knit these 2 stitches together. Knit 2 together. And that is the end of the repeat of the pattern. So now slip your marker and knit all border stitches off. Just knit to the end of the row. And that completes row 5. And now you can really see it coming together. So now as we turn the work, then of course we're on the back side, the purl side, and we're simply going to purl across. So row 6, we're going to purl across, and I'll see you back at row 7. Be careful, don't drop or lose any of your yarn over stitches. See you back for row 7. Okay, row 7. Let's read through it. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1. Okay, we're going to knit our first 4 stitches. Slide our marker. Now we're ready for our pattern. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 1. Now, let's repeat. Yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 1. And this row is simple. Just repeat to the end. And of course, row 8 will be our purl row. So really, I'll see you back at row 9. Careful! Well, we're back for row 9. And it's coming right along. I hope you haven't given up or gotten too tired. So we're just going to go right into row 9. And we're going to knit the first 4 stitches. and then slip the marker. Okay, let me read through it. All right, row 9, knit 1, knit 1 again, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2. Let's go. Knit 1, then knit 1 again, which starts to repeat, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 2, and repeat. And the repeat is knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 2. And repeat. See you back at row 11. Well, we're at row 11. Almost done with working on the front part of our bag, and we're getting close. Row 11, let me read through it. It says knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, slip 1, knit 2 together, pass slip stitch over, yarn over, knit 3. So let's start. I've already knit my 4 stitches, which is like our border. Slip my marker, I knit the first stitch, then I knit 1, 2, and now I'm ready for my yarn over, and I'm going to slip the first stitch, knit 2 stitches together, reach back, and take the slip stitch right over the stitch I just finished. Slip 1, knit 2 together, pass slip stitch over, yarn over. Now I'm going to knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now let's repeat. And the repeat is knit 2, yarn over, slip 1, knit 2 together, reach back and take the slip stitch over, yarn over, and knit 3. And repeat to the end of the row. And of course, row 12 will be our purl row. I'll see you back on row 12. Okay, so you can see I went ahead, I finished row 12, which was the last purl row we did in the pattern. And now, to continue to work and to make this design for the front part of the purse, then you will need to knit rows 1 through 12 one more time. So, but it will go a lot faster because now you see, you know what you're doing, and I'm telling you, it really is a fast knit. Me doing it little by little, it seems long and you know, maybe trying, but it really is a very fast knit once you get it. So you repeat the pattern, rows 1 through 12, and when you get to row 12 for the second time, we're going to get ready to move up towards our we started with 41 stitches. We increased to 50, remember? So we need to go down to back to 41. So after you've repeated the pattern one more time, and I want you to knit 4 rows. You know, in stockinette, knit a row, purl a row, knit a row. I need you to do 4 rows of the stockinette. And now I'm ready to start my decrease. You see, I've knitted my 4 rows right here. So now I'm ready to do my decrease. To go down from 50 back down to 41 stitches. Then we can put the top of we can do the 1 by 1 rib to end the purse. So remember I did, we're going to simply knit 3 and then knit 2 together. So on this row, after you've knitted 4 rows, this is like the 5th row, I'm going to knit 3 stitches. I just need to move this stitch over and drop my marker. Okay, let's just do that. So now I'm going to knit 2 together. I did 3 stitches, now I'm going to do 2 together. That's 1 decrease. Okay, now continue that across. Knit 3 stitches. And then knit 2 together. We're simply taking it back down to the original 41 stitches we had at the beginning. Knit 3 stitches. And then knit 2 together. And knit 3 stitches. And then knit 2 together. And continue. Continue all the way to the end of the row, decreasing, and you should have 41 stitches. Okay, so we're ready now. You did the last purl row after you knitted your rows, and now we are on the right side, and we're about to start our 1 by 1 rib for the top of our purse, the front. The top rib section is a 1 by 1 where you knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. So I went ahead and got started. I've done knit, a purl, a knit, a purl, a knit, and now I'm just going to do a purl stitch, and then yarning back I do a knit stitch, just like we begun, just like when we started the purse, just like when we began the purse. We're going to end it the same way. So and we want to do this, the 1 by 1 for 5 rows. I'll see you back at the end of the 5th row. Well, we're almost to the end of the knitted portion of this cute little bag. And like I say, it's breaking it up in little segments like this. I'm sure it seems long and like, oh man, but I'm telling you, it is such a fast knit. If you had to have one, you could really do it in a day or 2. It's really a cute little project, so don't let the little tiny segments turn you off. I left you at knitting up to 5 rows on the 1 by 1 rib. That's where you knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. Okay, well, I went ahead, and before I realized I had got up to my bind off. So in total, I need you to knit in the 1 by 1 rib 7 rows, and the 7th row will be the row we're going to bind off on. You should be on the front side, and we will bind off. So it's really 7 rows total. So I've already started my bind off. Let's get done with this, And I'm simply staying in pattern. That simply means we're going to continue knit one, purl one, back and forth. And I'm going to show you, I'll see if, you know, you probably noticed this too. The cast on edge, because when we're casting on, we're so careful and we're getting our gauges nice and tight and smooth. And by the time we finish a project, just like knitting here, you get up, you go cook, you go wash, you go to the store, you come back, you knit one day, you knit another day, and your bind off tension is so loose that you think, well, have I picked up more stitches? I can't tell you how many times I've counted and thought, well, it's the same amount of stitches, but one is so much smaller and the front side is so much larger. Well, I'm going to show you a little something that I stumbled upon by accident one time trying to fix something, and it works and it gives a great illusion, and you can't tell the difference. And so try this. So I'm binding off in pattern across, and I am up to a purl stitch, yarn in front, so I purl that stitch, reach back, lift the stitch right behind it over that one. Alright, put the yarn in back, knit the next stitch, bind off by reaching back, lifting up the stitch and over the point. Alright, yarn in front, purl that stitch. I'm binding off now, I'm ending. So you need at least 2 stitches on your right needle. So you reach back and you pull the one stitch that's in the back over the stitch that's in front and off the needle, just like that, and you've bound off your stitch. Now let me show you this. Alright, so I know my front is very loose and it's a little larger than my back, so I'm gonna fix it. I put my yarn in back because I'm gonna knit the next stitch, but I'm gonna reach and pick up 2 stitches. I'm gonna knit 2 stitches together on this bind off row, and then I reach over like before, pick that back stitch up and pull it over the stitch and the point. Okay, now I go right back in pattern, just forget that, and the next stitch, whatever it is, it's a knit stitch, so I'm going to go ahead, knit it, bind off. Next stitch is a purl stitch. Purl it, and then bind off. You're just lifting it over the point of the needle. Yarn in back, knit, bind off. Yarn in front, purl, and bind off. And you continue across. You're just simply binding off, and you need to kind of keep it loose. Don't try to pull it tight. You know, you want to. And the next one is a purl, and I bind off, a knit stitch, and I bind off, a purl, and I bind off, knit, bind off, and you continue in pattern until we get a little closer to the other end. See how I need to purl one, and we're going to randomly knit 2 more stitches together, so that way we're taking out, remember we did it just a minute ago, so now we're going to do it on this. As we get closer to this end, we're going to do it one more time, and that's going to take 2 stitches out, but we're binding off, so it really doesn't matter. So I get over here too, I do one more, maybe purl, bind off. Now the next stitch is a knit stitch, and I want to repeat the little decrease I did a minute ago. So I reach and I pick up 2 stitches, knit those 2 together, reach back, lift the back stitch over the front stitch, and bind it off. Look and see what's the next stitch and go right back into pattern. just like I was doing before. And you're binding off. And you can see keep it kind of loose because we've already taken 2 stitches out. So you just want to kind of stay in pattern, bind off. And one more. Oops. Lift it over. And one more. Yarn in back and knit. Okay, and then we'll cut that in a minute, but I just want to show you. Now, it gives an illusion, and you don't see, and look, voila, no difference in the, from the cast on edge to the bind off edge. We took 2 stitches out, and you just have to look real hard to even find it. But it makes a nice, tight, and it looks just like the back. We simply, at random, decreased a stitch on this side and decreased one over there as we were binding off. What do you think of that? Well, okay, so this is the knitted portion of the bag. The only other thing you have to knit is an I-cord for the little scrap, the little handle that goes around the little wrist handle. That is, if you don't know how to do an I-cord, we're going to add that on at the end here and let you see. But this is the product here, and this is how it looks when it's open. But of course, we're going to sew it together. So, get yours up to that or look at that, and then we'll be ready for the last little portion. And of course, we're going to do the lining in a separate little video. We'll finish this one, and then we'll go through the steps to line the bag and add the zipper. So by the time we're done, hopefully you haven't hopefully you haven't left or fallen out. Okay, just as we finished up our bag, you know, we have the little I-cord, and this is just a little quick showing you how to get your I-cord. You want to simply, we knit our bag with a number 6, but I suggest for the handle or the little wrist strap, I'd go up to a number 7. Just go up a size needle because you really want it to hold your bag. And of course, we're going to sew it in place, but I would just go up a size on your double pointed needles to do an I-cord. You know, that's what you use. And I cast on 5 stitches. And you know, to do an I-cord, your yarn is always in the back. You should always push your stitches to one end of the needle and simply knit as usual. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull and always slide to the opposite end of the needle. Yarn, working yarn, is always in the back. Knit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull and slide. Just slide your stitches to the end of the needle, and always give a nice pull on it to keep it nice and straight. 1, and continue. 2, 3. That's 4 and 5. Pull and slide to the opposite end. And that's all there is to a knot cord. And of course, you just bind off as usual. I did about 10, just kind of measured around your wrist, 10 inches and maybe an extra 1 inch because we do have to sew it onto the bag. So 10, 11, depending on your wrist and how much room you need to get your hands. Let me get the original one. You know, how much room you need to actually slide your hand in. And you want it to be loose enough to get it in and get it out. So 11 inches. And of course, once we attach it, we will sew it in place, so it will be strong enough to hold your bag. So, knitting portion done. Now, the lining and the zipper.